If everyone's here, I
Eric's
think
excused.
this is everyone that is coming. Just for the sake of microphones, if everyone can come sit at the table, please. I can actually hold. So I'd like to call the meeting of the Tilton Police Station Committee to order at 5:34. The only member missing from the committee this evening will be Eric Kyra. All others are present. And we have a special guest this evening, Mr. Gary Goodrow. Yep. Is with us this evening to discuss further matters of the police station. There is some business that we need to discuss in non-public this evening. We will be entering, I'll entertain a motion to enter into non-public.
We're saying 91A,
Yeah,
colon
that's what I was
3.
looking for. I figured you had it beside you.
The sale and lease of property.
So as per 91A, the sale or lease and discussion thereof, acquisition of property.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, all those in favor of entering into non-public? Aye?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will enter into non-public session. All right, unanimous, out of non-public session?
Yep.
All right.
Make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to land acquisition and the sale and lease of the land acquisition until the matters are resolved.
Okay, is there a second?
Sure.
Okay, Jason seconds. Roll call vote. Pat?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Chuck? Yes. And I'm a yes. So that's to seal the minutes. Okay. Now we need a motion to enter into public session?
No.
No?
No, we're in public.
We're already in it?
Yeah.
We're rolling.
Whew.
Live.
We're going.
Streamlining. Okay, so Gary, thank you for bringing the reworked plan that we have in front of us. Gary Goodrow is going to present this plan to us.
Okay, basically this is slightly different. It's a hybrid version of the other two that we talked about. In this particular case, we're separating staff entry from public entry, and we've reversed those entries on their respective streets compared to the site plan you saw previously. In this particular one, the staff is going to enter off of Business Park Drive, and the public will enter off of Sanborn Road. And in doing this, I've reconfigured the building, and that's the floor plan you see that's been stapled to the back side of this. It's the same footprint of building, it's the same configuration of spaces, it's just been mirrored and rotated so that we can access the front of the building. The front of the building will now face Sanborn Road, whereas before, in the other schemes, the front of the building was facing Business Park Drive. But if the public's going to enter off of Sanborn Road, it makes sense to have that be the front face of the building. So I've oriented the building to make that happen, and I also oriented the building, I mirrored it so that we could continue to keep the staff parking and the Sallyport operations as hidden from Business Park Drive and from Sanborn Road as we can.
Yep.
So the activity that happens in the back there, the staff activity, is not as easily seen by the general public. So that's the reason that the building has been reconfigured and moved around compared to the last site plan you saw. In this particular case, we do have the opportunity in the future, or even now if you wanted to connect the staff parking lot through the public parking lot if you wanted a second way out for staff. It's easy enough to do. We can take a couple of parking spaces out of the public parking lot. We can have a driveway connecting, and we can gate it so that the public won't have access to it, but staff could leave.
How do you feel about that?
You could do it if it's flat ground, if you drive across the grass, it's
It's just that in the winter, you're going to have to make sure you plow
Snow
it.
storage.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I like that there's a lot of room to move the snow out of the way.
Does
so.
he talk- How does this come into play with the topography of where we're putting this in front of the building? It sort of goes up like this.
Yeah, you're gonna end up having to cut into that bank a little bit to make that a little bit more gradual. And I haven't reworked the topo lines here, but basically what I tried to do is keep the entrance where that existing cart path or not gravel but dirt road is. I mean, there's a swath already cut through there.
Yes,
So that's where this connection is being proposed to be made.
okay.
All right. And what I've done is I've tried to minimize the impact on the wetlands, and I'm trying to stay out of the area where there's a utility easement. And I say utility easement, but I'm not exactly sure what it's an easement for.
Right.
I'll just use that as a general term. So basically, that if we tried to connect to the site a little bit further left of where I'm showing, we'd have to cut through much more wetlands. Right here, all we have to do is put a culvert in the ditch on the side of the road and call it good, as long as the highway department allows us to do that,
Yeah, there's very little disruption in both of those.
right?
When you're coming up Route 132, when you look at that corner, you're looking at it from the Business Park Drive perspective.
Yeah, you're going to see it at an angle,
Right.
basically a 45-degree angle. So you'll see the front of the building as it faces Sanborn Road. So that, to me, as you're approaching it, you'll see the long axis of the building, but it'll be a lot less eye appealing. And I don't mean to say that it's not going to be attractive. There's just going to be less going on. There's not a need to put a lot of windows in that part of the building for security reasons. So the front of the building is going to be dressed up. You're going to see the gable. You're going to see street lights. Parking lot lights. It's going to look like the front of the building as opposed to the side of the building. So I don't think the public's going to be confused as to which way to go. I don't think.
I travel this road every day, okay? And if the police department has to enter it up in the Business Park Drive, did you ever see all those resource trucks, Eversource trucks piling up at the stop sign, coming and going with their stuff and equipment? They're gonna have to dodge that stuff to get out of there.
Right.
Where if they had complete
Eversource
access
trucks.
to 132 of their own,
They can change
the
that.
public can use the other exit.
Well, we did have that before, so you got your
But-
choice.
I'm just talking, putting it on the
I
table.
kind of,
You have both options.
right, and I kind of go with Ken because for a couple of reasons. One is the visibility. Visibility was a key factor in a lot of the committees at town meeting, was visibility, visibility, visibility. And I get that you can see it, but you're going to see the long side of it when you're really driving up to it. And, when you're thinking of somebody that's a senior and they're looking at it, they're going to just want to go into Business Park Drive to say, okay, here it is on the corner, and not on 32. The policemen are going to have the access. If they had the access on 32, they would be in and out of there, and they would have their own access, and they wouldn't have to fight with Sealight or Nickerson or Eversource. And Eversource is a big one because when they roll out, they roll out. And not only does Eversource roll out, Asplin rolls out right behind them.
Yeah.
So, it really is a factor. And if you want to see it from down on 132 as you're coming from Route 3, visually appealing, I think the S101A would be the one. But I really like that idea of the connecting the two parking lots. But I really like this design here.
The previous one,
Yeah, I do.
where
I like the
where
public
they had
entry
two
on
separate
Business Park
entrances, but
Drive.
they were flipped.
Yep. I like the Business Park Drive, only my opinion, but the public entry on Business Park.
Well, I can make anything work, so
Now, this is first floor, you said.
there's
This is
only
the
one
only
floor.
Oh, this is one floor, it says
Yeah.
first floor. I thought there might be a second one somewhere. Yeah. So this is- yeah.
Well, you got more public parking on the new one,
Right.
and that was one of the concerns that they raised.
Yeah, Pat, can I see? Oh, maybe he's got it here. The one you were just talking about before. We have the ability, Joyce, in the other scheme where we still have public coming off of Business Park Drive, we could double, maybe even more so, the number of public parking spaces there just by extending the parking lot.
By extending it.
Yeah. It's just a matter of how much pavement you want to put.
That's two-story, right?
Nope, this is one
Oh,
story.
it's still one story?
The two-story scheme was for lot 6,
Oh, okay.
because a one-story scheme didn't work
Okay.
without a huge amount of fill in the backside of the site.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I thought this was the latest and greatest. I think it really, so far so good, is probably the best.
This one.
Yep.
If I'm just a Joe Q citizen and I gotta go roll up through that road with all the electrical trucks, and I don't have blue lights on my car, nobody's gonna cut me a break. But I think cruiser traffic going in and out of there, if there was any stack up of trucks or whatever, there was.
How long is
be
the
that one
stack up
time
of
a day
truck?
where,
I was just gonna say, what time of day? Is it like 3:30 or 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning? I mean, I
it's like
guess.
school bus traffic. You get burned with it.
Well,
twice a
I
day.
understand, but
You know.
essentially it's kind of one of those things that.
8 or 9 deep at least.
Yeah.
Well, right, but essentially if one stops, I mean, I guess if you're coming out of there, but I guess the time of day, if it's 6 in the morning, how many people are really coming out of the,
Well, you have shift in.
What public is going to be there?
Yeah, it's usually 7:30 unless they have a safety meeting, and then it's a little later.
for Eversource?
Yeah,
Guys
for
are down at
Eversource,
Dunkin'
that's what's
Donuts by
coming out.
8:30
And,
now.
Eversource is usually back at the shop at 2:30.
But what I'm saying is, are those times really crucial time for the general public? I'm just trying to get an answer to a question, not for me, but just, that is there a lot of public coming out of the police station at 7:30 now?
Out of the police station? Not usually.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's kind of what we're discussing.
Right, it's usually shift change around 7, so, and then the dispatch will come in at about 8 in the office administration.
But that's.
But we're not
I've
open
never-
either.
I've never seen like a big rush to or from the police station even now, you know what I mean? Unless there's a meeting or something going on there, but I don't necessarily know if that's a,
Is there enough room?
Well, we don't have meetings over there because there's not enough room over
well,
there.
I know.
Is there enough room?
We build it,
on-
they will come.
Exactly.
Enough room on Business Park Drive, on roadway width, to put a third lane in the middle?
Oh,
It's
I
about 50 feet
I
wide.
haven't measured it.
Okay.
It's about 50 feet.
To like
Right
a
now,
turning
existing
access, is that what you're
asphalt.
saying?
No, so if you have 8 or 10 trucks deep, and the cruisers are gonna, leaving for an emergency, say they get a call for whatever, and the trucks are backed up 8 or 10 deep, can they pull into a center lane to exit out as an emergency lane?
If you've got 50 feet of pavement, it's not unrealistic to have 15, 16-foot wide lanes for that purpose. I mean,
And
a
then a
a
center.
typical driveway into a business, 24 feet wide, 2 12-foot, vehicle paths. So I think it's possible to do. I don't know what the logistics are for restriping the road at that intersection, but
I think we have to revisit our discussion that we had last week.
Right.
That Tom had brought up, where there was a few of us that had the opinion of 2 driveways, and then once Tom spoke, I think we all realized what he had said.
Right, because the
Oh.
problem is, I mean, I don't feel having the public access from Sanborn Road, because like what you were mentioning last week about the speed, the visibility, the last minute, all of a sudden somebody sees it and stops, where I think that's what we talked about, where Business Park Drive is such a wide, you know what I mean? It's not like you can get around cars, you can do things. I think safety-wise, I think last week, am I misunderstanding last week that we discussed Business Park Drive was the safer, we felt?
Yeah, that's exactly what we talked about. That's what Tom had brought up.
For
Because
the
I didn't-
public or for the staff?
both.
For
I
both,
think.
we were back to one entrance there.
Because I didn't see it the way Tom saw it. I saw this last week until we started discussing it, and I kind of realized that I lean towards that way now. But
As far as Eversource stacking up, ready to roll out from on, we could always put a sign up saying they have to park back further than the driveway, the existing driveway to the police station.
if they're not leaving, right, that's
Well, if they're not leaving, right. And I mean, all I have to do is give them a heads up. They know how to comply with things. They're not,
It's just being a good neighbor thing.
That's
Yeah,
all.
it's-
Yeah, yeah,
It's,
that's
it's like, you
basically
don't create gridlock, you know? Don't go into an
Right.
intersection and stop when the light turns
Yeah,
red.
do not block driveway. Even if they freaking did that and left the driveway open, you can go around them like you were
Yeah.
saying, Kevin, if it's wide enough that they can go into the other lane.
Entrance here.
Do they like pull up there and wait? I don't understand.
Well, they stand there, wait till I go by.
Curb cuts and see.
Maybe they're just being polite.
Then there's two or three of them in front of me. They getting out of the way, they're headed for Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, with that part of the discussion, it could be even more important that we do have a second exit of
Well,
some.
if you went with this plan, I would say connect the driveways so they can use the
That's
Okay.
that, and,
Sanborn Road.
I mean,
But if you think that the public should be entering off of Business Park Drive, it would be a different site plan, and we'd have to find another way to get out.
I think
to-
the next step would be to contact Bill Rollins over at the DOT and simply ask him, and I could do that tomorrow afternoon, and ask him to meet me over there and say, listen, here's this plan
These
here.
are our options.
These are our options. Can we have a public access cut-in on Sanborn Road?
And then,
Because typically what happens is the emergency vehicles will get the cut-in, not the public. So,
and the thing is, if we're gonna ask him, it may not be a bad question, just ask his opinion. If this is what he does, you know.
Is he familiar with that
Well,
intersection?
if you
Yes.
connect the roads so that they can use either
That's a
road, if
state
say this was a bundle up for some reason or another, they'd have the option of coming down this other road on the
So
Sanborn.
it's really a matter of doing maybe a study, what's the car count in and out of PD every day? You're gonna have staff every single day, you have cruisers every single day, public,
Well,
maybe I
and the
can go
PD is
Facebook
going to be
it.
open longer too, because we're going to have
Maybe I
dispatch
can
there
go-
now.
They
Piece of
they
paper
have to,
and
they
see
could
what's
come
going
down.
on.
It's always ideal to have a second way out for staff,
Yeah.
for sure. If you can do that, it's a good idea.
I think we'd be covered.
So if your higher car count is cruisers and staff, then they should be in on Business Park Drive, because that's less car count going on.
That may be.
That's a good point.
Well, I think we've covered every aspect of those site plans, so
I mean, I think
pick
we,
one or an amalgamation of all three.
Thank you for
Yeah, giving us
that.
notice.
Welcome.
so which one are we going to bring, which options are we bringing to the state? These two?
The most recent in the green, and then 101A.
Yep.
And which of these, the 101A would be this one, right? Scheme B? Would
No,
be this one?
the floor plan A is what you want in any case. The only difference
Floor
between,
plan
They'll just switch them around if it becomes the other.
yeah, the only difference, Joyce, is where the mechanical and evidence storage are. They're opposite each other in B as they are in A. And A is preferred, I think, where you can access evidence storage off of the corridor and not have to go into the Sally Port to do that.
A. The Sally Port, you can still get into mechanical, electric, and community.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep, to me, there's less need to get into those spaces on a daily basis than
Right.
in evidence storage. It's just nice not have to go into
So it's
the
scheme A,
scheme A.
101A, all right, so.
So if I get him to come out, you'll come
Yeah.
out with me?
Yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah.
All right, so Joyce and I will take care of that.
Just to add, because I know when we had, in the 61 Business Park Drive site plan review approval, whenever new buildings are coming in, you're supposed to check with DOT to see if they're gonna need a light or lane widening. And when we had the proposal passed for the police station, they said no, they would not require any change. On Business
Now
Park
that's
Drive.
because we're going on to business, not necessarily off from Sanborn Road, but just like that's at the last location. So having this curb cut off Sanborn Road may play a factor into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they may want a deceleration lane or an extra widening
Case
or
it's not
something.
$100,000.
Yeah, easy.
Right, but at least if we have these answers and we decide not to, that's why we have these.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
someone
And then you save you
asks
money
the
on
question in the
Right.
public,
going
you
over
can say,
the
we looked at
culvert.
that.
There, so that would save money too, right?
What's that?
not having to.
If they would only allow us one onto 61, not onto Sanborn
That may
Road.
that'll solve that discussion.
Sure, sure.
If they won't let you on
It'll
Sanborn, then you
justify
don't
our-
get a second way out of the police station other than to do what I showed, which would be a third lane.
Yep.
Going
Just in
in.
case somebody blocks the two that are coming and going, you have that extra one that's staff only. And it all is on Business Park Drive.
That will solve that discussion. Do we have any other questions for Gary while he's still here and we have his fullest undivided attention? Gary, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
So it's this
Have a good evening. Yep, you also.
Thanks, Gary.
one.
You have these in digital, right?
No, hey Gary, is there any way, right now I've just been making photocopies, with the exception of this one, you did email me.
Oh, I didn't send you the PDFs of the others,
No.
huh?
No, just the.
I will do that. Yeah, because I noticed the copying blue. Or at least,
Right.
Yeah,
all right, I will do that.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Are we firm on a work list? I think there's only a couple of things that we have to do as far as your DOT site visit,
Yeah.
right? Do we want to ask Joyce to make have a discussion with the deputy fire chief, fire inspector,
At some point, we should invite him
to do a plans?
to come here when we've got the plans, and as well as Joyce following up on that.
See if
I mean,
his sprinklers are.
We're gonna be asked
Yeah.
if the fire was, we're gonna be asked if fire was contacted, and, you know, if they had their input on it, and so on and so forth.
Well, I
So,
think the discussion that we had about the sprinkler system would be a good open discussion to have with him. And
Get answers.
yeah,
so do you want
do you
Joyce
want
to?
to have Joyce? Do we want to invite him to next Monday night's meeting?
The chief or the deputy?
You want
I
to
did-
do it 2 weeks from now when you're here?
I'm not going to be here 2 weeks from now. I'm not at next week's meeting, and I'm not at the one after that. I think we would be better off to have him on the 6th, November 6th, if he's free, because the meeting on the 30th that's here, for fire department regionalization, he may be in that meeting. So I think we should try to invite him for November 6th.
And you're not here on that one.
Which honestly, you don't need me for that one, I don't think. That's the discussion you're gonna have. I can get caught up to speed. Easy enough.
We still have the estimates, appraisals for those 2 lots that are still in the making.
Yeah,
3
those-
weeks.
Yeah, those are,
that would
Do we need one on the old police station too, or what are we gonna be doing with that?
that's a good question.
Can we roll that into as a third appraisal?
The board just agreed on the 2 for now to get those done so that we can move forward on it.
Couldn't
I
we
think that,
hold avatars?
well, the board felt, correct me if I'm wrong, the board felt that where it's this property, we could get a realtor with
Yeah, do
comps.
a regular
Yeah, we
market.
could, why can't we just go that route?
Right, and
That may be more accurate
without
anyway.
spending money on an appraisal, where this is actually commercial development up there. So
And that's just
more-
a piece of property versus
Right.
an actual
And
physical
it could be,
building.
you know, anything put in there, so it's basically a house turned into a PD. So we thought, you know, there was talk of that at the selectmen, so that's why we didn't put it all into the 3.
What did we come into terms, agree upon about getting the public knowledge out there? Did we decide on what we're gonna do? Are we gonna decide on what we're gonna do to make people aware? I know we talked about some stuff, but,
I think that was Eric's corner of the world, right?
Yeah.
well, he said, yeah.
He's good
he
at
had-
that.
Yeah.
But I think, like we were talking coming in here, I think before we continue too far down the path, now that we've kind of potentially located a site, and we need to let the public know I mean, that's my opinion. You know, that they're invited, you know, that they can come and obviously, you know, let people know that, I mean, because I can tell you if I wasn't here, I wouldn't know we were here, you know, other than me being here. I mean, I know you've had these in the past.
There was
but-
talk about some kind of sheet, right?
Right, a
Talking
sheet
about
or a page.
fact sheet,
Yeah.
and where we were gonna post it. It should be in the, it'll be in the minutes.
But somebody could, you know, then we could share it on our Facebook pages, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not necessarily our own, a Facebook page or,
But we can also put it on the web, on our website, you know, so if we had something
the
coming up.
Tilton Police, I think
Right.
we talked about doing something on there and sharing it from there, but I think we need to address letting the public know more than,
There's a lot of people that go on the Tilton website, and when you put it up there, and Tim does a very good job of you know, making it eye-catching and say, okay, here's what's going to be discussed Monday evening, you know.
like an agenda.
Instead of just an agenda, public welcome, make it big letters, public welcome. We could use your input, whatever.
How many people actually get the Echo magazine paper
Quite a bit.
until Waterfield?
Yeah.
I read that.
I mean, I could contact Donna to see if she would maybe, I don't know, see what she had for an idea of putting something in there to let them know where we've got pretty much a date, you know, a day of the week that we're doing it. Even if we get public comment, not so much even like they don't want to show up, at least, I just don't want to get to the point that come voting and everybody, kind of like we're talking about Union Sample and the school board meetings, you know, it's actually starting to get out there that people are aware that things are going on, things are being decided, and they want to be involved. And I think we may not get any involvement, we may not get any input, but if they know about it, then that's all we can do.
Well, there was mentioned at the meeting, somebody at this table said, or two people said they were gonna reach out to Donna Rhodes about it. So I don't know, I don't remember who they were. I didn't watch the video last week. So
I don't
there was
remember
some
anybody
commitment
mentioning
was
that.
made
But
at this table. Somebody was
I have
gonna
no
reach out.
problem reaching out.
Yeah.
She actually just called me.
Does the town hall or the Board of Selectmen have a PIO or a press release format that you use? You don't? Okay. If there were a press release that was put out by the selectmen based on our direction that we've already done, and inviting the media, whether it was Laconia Daily Sun, whatever the media venues are that you normally use, to Ken's point, you know, if we can get it out in the Echo, which seems to be pretty widely distributed.
It's wide enough. It's not too wide that it goes.
Well, it's our general
Right.
area that people that would be concerned would read.
And you could post a press release on the website.
Yeah. That we have this committee and we meet on
Right.
Mondays and.
I just, if you had a format that you currently use, that would,
Could we come up with something
yeah, I think.
to actually, what we want published?
Joyce, can you and I meet this?
Yes, but my thought is right now that we're on task with, we're tasked by the selectmen
Mhm.
to get something to Gary.
Yep.
So I'm just thinking that,
That might not be time well spent.
I think we need something more definitive right now
Mhm.
to give to Gary, and then, you know, start presenting it.
Okay.
There's going to be
You know
certain
what I'm
portions,
saying?
if you invite the public, you're going to say, I'm sorry, we need a non-public because we have to talk about this portion, of the small portion of it. So you're going to send the people downstairs, and then they can come back up. People aren't going to really want to do that. So,
I think we need to have some more answers to things before, because people, well, what about this, what about, oh, well, you know, that's, I just think it's maybe a little too premature.
I just don't want to get to the point that we made all these decisions and then try to involve the public. I guess that's my
I
fear,
understand.
because we need to get those questions. If the public has some questions, we need to get them here before we make all the decisions. And whether we're, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with settling maybe the heart of it, but we also want to make sure that we make them aware of what we're doing.
But we're at 4 meetings and we still haven't actually said, here, Gary, this is what we've been able to reach a consensus on. That's all I'm saying. It's your committee.
Yep, no, I'm good. With respect to time, I have to leave 5 minutes ago. So the only thing I would ask that I think our next order of business is choosing a scheme, meaning the driveway layout. We have the 2 schemes. We also have not even talked about the floor plan and the concerns with the floor plan, if there are any. We've had
Haven't done that.
about the size of the rooms, and really to go through the entire floor plan. So, was there an intention for a time limit for the meeting for tonight? And
Before 7:30,
before 7:30?
no later than 7:30.
No, I think we should just wrap it up, because
Yeah.
do we have anything else to, well, we have to wrap it up because we don't have the vice chair here to run the meeting.
Right.
And that's fine, I was gonna ask if you could run the meeting, but if the vice chair is not here. Okay, so for next week, Joyce, we just need to create an agenda.
Yeah.
So we can stay on task with,
At that point, we'll have 3 weeks' worth of minutes we need to vote and approve and get done.
can we make sure that we have those for next Monday night, Joyce?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we had the first 2.
We,
The second week, you wanted amended to have the nominations of the chair and vice chair.
Yep, that was not in
That
there.
was the only amendment.
Yeah,
So those 2 weeks are already in draft form that
yeah.
we can.
And this I've changed already in there.
And that's the motion, and who didn't.
We need to make sure that Eric is gonna be here next
Yep.
week and the week after.
Yep.
That's 5:30.
Yep, 5:30 here, next Monday night and the following Monday.
Right.
I will not be at either.
Otherwise.
So if Eric is not here, then we need to just bump it to the following week, because I can't, as ex officio, I cannot run
Okay.
the meeting, it's not proper.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Now, we do have a minute